Today we are going to solve Cambridge Lower Secondary Checkpoint, October 2018, Paper 1. Question number 1. Sophia uses a microscope to look at cells. She makes a labeled drawing of a cell. If we look at the cell here, we will find nucleus, vacuole, cytoplasm, cell membrane. Name the structure labeled X. So here, this is the cell membrane. What would be X? X would be the cell wall. Sophia cannot be sure whether the cell is animal or plant. Use the information from the diagram to explain why. If we look at the diagram, it shows that it might be a plant cell. Why it might be a plant cell? Because here there is a vacuole and there is a cell wall, and only plant cells have vacuoles and cell walls. So the answer would be that it has a vacuole and a cell wall, so could be a plant cell since animal cells don't have cell wall. Okay, so here we have cell wall and vacuole, so it's a plant cell. Question number 2, the diagram shows a cross-section of rocks in 3 different locations. We have layers A, B, C, and D. Fossils are found in the layers of rocks. Look at the picture of one of the fossils. This is a fossil here. Where is it found? This is the fossil we are talking about. Look at the picture at one of the fossils. This fossil is the oldest, shown in the diagram. Explain how can you tell. Why do you think fossil D is the oldest in layer D? Why? If we look, we will find that it is found in the bottom layer. So as we go deep, this means it's older. So the answer is it is found in the bottom layer. The fossil is found in a sedimentary rock. Circle the sedimentary rock in the list. We know the examples of sedimentary rocks. So which one here is a sedimentary rock? It is sandstone. We know that sandstone, limestone are sedimentary rocks. Why didn't we choose the marble? The marble is a metamorphic rock. The granite is an igneous rock, and the basalt is an igneous rock as well. So the only sedimentary rock here is the sandstone. Complete the sentence to explain how metamorphic rocks form. Choose the words from the list. Metamorphic rocks, we know they are formed because of the effect of 2 factors. What are they? They are heat and pressure. So the answer is heat and pressure. Question number 3. Ring magnets have a north pole N and a south pole S. Gabriella has a toy made of ring magnets. She puts 4 ring magnets on the toy. There are gaps between the magnets. So here we have gaps. Complete the missing labels in the boxes on the diagram. Use N for North Pole, S for the South Pole. The first one has been done for you. Gaps here mean there is repulsion. Repulsion means north is facing north, south is facing south. So if here on the top we have north, so the other side would be south, S. Okay, here we have repulsion between these two magnets because we have a gap. So this means this is S and this is S as well, the south. Here south on the top, so N on the bottom. Okay, so what would be here on the top? N, great. Here N on the top and S on the bottom. And here repulsion between these two magnets. This means this is the south. Okay, next question. Oliver grows several different varieties of cucumber plants. He produces new plants by breeding different varieties together. Oliver uses a brush to transfer grains containing male cells from a flower of one variety to the female parts of another variety. This is shown in the diagram. So we have here the male part of the flower and the female part of the flower, and he is using the brush to transfer the grains. Name the grains containing the male cells. We all know that the grains are the pollen grains. Okay. Name the process of transferring the grains to the female parts of a flower. The transfer of the pollen grains from the male part to the female part is pollination. Name the process that must take place before seeds are formed. After pollination, what happens? Before the seeds are formed, fertilization takes place. So fertilization. The answer is fertilization. Question number 5. Chen investigates the displacement reactions. Chen adds iron to copper sulfate solution in a test tube. A reaction takes place. Copper and iron sulfate are made. Complete the word equation for this reaction. So we have here what? We have iron, the first reactant, and copper sulfate, the second reactant. What are the products? We have copper and iron sulfate. So if we need to complete the word equation, what would be here? So here we have the iron, here the copper sulfate. The products are the copper and iron sulfate. Question B. Chen repeats this method with some other metals and metal salt solutions. Here are his results. Metal salt solution, does it react? We know from our practice, we know the reactivity series, but I need to tell you how to know which one is more reactive, which metal is more reactive. Here, the reaction between copper and zinc sulfate is a no reaction. So, copper cannot displace the zinc, so zinc is more active than the copper. Okay, copper and iron sulfate, no reaction as well. So, iron will be on the top of copper. Iron and copper sulfate. Iron can displace the copper, so this is correct. Iron and zinc sulfate, no reaction. So iron cannot displace the zinc. This means what? The zinc is on the top and the iron is in between. To make sure, we have zinc and copper sulfate, so zinc can displace copper, correct? We have zinc and iron sulfate. Zinc replaces the iron. There is a reaction, so which one is more reactive here? The zinc. So if we are going to put the metals in order of reactivity starting from the most reactive, which one here, copper or iron or zinc? The first one will be the zinc, the second one the iron, and the least reactive is the copper. Question number C. Chen notices the test tube gets warm when a reaction takes place. Here, this is a key word. If a reaction takes place and there is heat released, what name describes a reaction that gives out heat? It is rate exothermic reaction. Chen's teacher suggests that he change his experiment to find out which reaction gives out the most heat. Describe how Chen changes his experiment. So here the question is that his teacher suggests that he change the experiment to find out which reaction gives off the most heat. So here, what could Chen do? How could he change his experiment to know which one gives out the most heat? So he can measure the temperature before adding the metal. This is temperature 1, for example. Then he measures the temperature after adding that metal. By this way, he could know which one gives the most heat. Take care, the question is out of 2 marks, so you have to mention 2 points. So, measure the temperature before adding the metal. Point number 2 is measuring the temperature after adding the metal. By this, he could know which one gives out the most heat. Question number 6. Sound waves can be shown on an oscilloscope. Complete the sentences. Choose words from the list. Amplitude, frequency, noise, particle, and size. So at A, the wave has the highest what? At A, here. At A, the wave has the highest what? What is this? What do we call this? Great. The highest amplitude. So the answer is amplitude. At A and B, the wave has the same what? Frequency, noise, particle, and size. Let's look at A. We have here 1 wave, 2, 3, 4. Let's look at B. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the same number of waves. In other words, this is called the same frequency. The same number of waves per unit time. The number of waves per unit time. So the answer is the frequency. Question number 7. Angelique and Pierre watch a film about penguins. One scene shows penguins together in a group at a temperature of -30 degrees. Pierre predicts that the penguins in the middle of the group will be the warmest. Angelique suggests that they plan an investigation to test Pierre's prediction. They decide to use test tubes filled with hot water to represent 8 penguins. She labels one tube A and stands it on its own. She labels another tube B and places it in the middle of 6 other tubes, all labeled C. Angelique fills the 8 test tubes with hot water. So here, as if these test tubes are the penguins to investigate if Pierre's prediction is correct or not, regarding that the penguin in the middle should be the warmest. Okay. Angelique and Pierre record the temperatures of the water in tubes A, B, and C over a period of time. Name 2 pieces of apparatus they use to obtain the measurements they need. What measurements do they need? They are measuring what? They are measuring the temperature. So what apparatus do they need to measure the temperature? Great, the thermometer. The second apparatus, they need to measure what? They need to measure the time. The time needs what? The time needs a timer, or you can say stopwatch. Both are correct. State one variable they need to keep the same in their investigation. What's the variable that they need to keep the same in order to have a fair test to eliminate the effect of other variables? What could they do? If we look at the test tubes, we'll find that they should use what? They should use the same size tubes. They should start at the same starting temperature. They can use the same external temperature, the temperature of the surrounding. So, one variable they need to keep the same in their investigation. One could be the same sized tubes. Why they should keep it the same during their investigation? To have a fair test, and so by this they eliminate the effect of other variables. Question 8. Aiko and Carlos are investigating states of matter. They do 3 tests on 5 different substances. Test 1, fill a syringe with the substance and try to squash it. Test 2, put the substance into a beaker. Test 3, heat the substance in an evaporating dish. Okay. Here are the results. Substance A in test 1, 2, and 3, and so on, from A till E. Okay. Use the results to answer these questions. Which substance is a gas? How to know which substance is a gas? We should check the properties. Okay, let's check together the properties. First, regarding the squash, try to squash it. Test 1, fill a syringe with a substance and try to squash it. Which substance here could be squashed? Could be squashed, this means it's a gas. Let's check test 1. Could be squashed in a syringe, this means it's a gas. So this is the gas. Gas is D. Why D is a gas? The answer is it could be squashed in the syringe. Why? It could be squashed in the syringe. Question number B, which 2 substances are solids? Let's check their properties. Solids. Solid couldn't be squashed, for sure. What else? Put the substance in a beaker. What happens to a solid when it's put in a beaker? And when we heat the substance in an evaporating dish, here it's written melted for substance A. For substance B, it's written turned into steam, leaving nothing in the dish, so this means it's not a solid. C, it's burnt. So here it's A and C. Why A and C? They both didn't take the shape of the container and couldn't fill the syringe. The answer is both did not take the shape of the beaker and couldn't fill the syringe with the substance. Next question. Question 9. Pierre and Carlos have 6 boxes. They collect information about the 6 boxes. We have here box A, B, C, D, E, and F. And here we have colors, volume, mass, and density. Pierre says the green boxes are denser than the red boxes. Does the evidence in the table support this statement? Explain your answer. He said here the green boxes are denser. Let's look at the green box. Green, green, green. C, D, and F. What are the densities? We have the density here. It's 7.2, 9.8, 6.4. If we look at the values of the densities, we will find that these values are the highest values among the other colors. So does the evidence in the table support this statement? It's a yes. Explain your answer. The green boxes have densities 7.2, 9.8, 6.4. The largest density for a red box is 6.3. So all the densities of the green boxes are higher than the red boxes. Okay. Question B. Carl says the largest box is the most dense. Does the evidence in the table support his statement? Let's look at the table. He's saying that the largest box is the most dense. Which one here is the largest box? The largest one here is box A. Does it have the highest density? The density is 1.2. It is the smallest one, the lowest density. So, does the evidence in the table support the statement? It's a no. No. Why no? Explain your answer. The density of the largest box, which is box A, is 1.2. And this is the lowest density. Other boxes have higher densities. Other boxes have a higher density. So here, box A is the largest box, yet it has the smallest density. Question number 10. The diagram shows 4 giraffes. They have different patterns on their bodies. If we look, we will see different patterns here. Okay. Tick the boxes next to the 2 sentences that prove that they are all the same species. So which 2 sentences prove they are all the same species? Let's look. They all eat the same food. Is it a proof that they are the same species? No. They can all breed with each other. It's a yes. Correct. This is a feature regarding the same species. They share similar features. No. They live in the same habitat. No. Their offspring would all be able to have young. This is correct. So the two sentences that prove that they are all the same species, they can all breed with each other, their offspring would be able to have young. The diagram shows a model of an atom of an element. We have here nucleus, energy levels, and electrons. Name the part of the atom labeled X. What is X? X is the electrons. Describe how you can tell that the element is in group 4 of the periodic table. How can you tell this is an element in group 4? We know that group 4 have 4 electrons in the outer shell, and we hear the outer shell, we have 4 electrons. So the answer is that it has 4 electrons in the outer shell. That's why it's in group 4. What happens to the size of atoms as you move down group 4? We have group. As we move down the group, what happens to the size of the atoms? Great, the size of the atom increases, or in other words, gets bigger. Question number 12. The diagram shows the addition of different colors of light. Here we have in between green and blue, and here in between blue and red. So what's the color here? Great, the color here is the cyan. And between the blue and red, the color is the magenta. Question number 13. The diagram shows part of a food web in a large lake. We said before that the food web means interconnected food chains. Let's go down. Some organisms are missing from the food web and are shown by the boxes A, B, C, and D. Identify the 4 organisms using the information. Algae are small green plants that are eaten by mosquito larvae. So here algae is eaten by what? Mosquito larvae. Water fleas also feed on algae. So here we can write the water fleas. Sticklebacks are small fish that eat water fleas and mosquito. So the sticklebacks, here they eat the water fleas and the mosquito. This one. Okay. Fish such as perch and pike eat sticklebacks. So perch and what? And pike eat sticklebacks. Pike and otters are predators that compete with each other for perch. Write the names of each of the organisms. So pike and otters are predators. So we wrote pike here. Pike and what? Pike and otters are predators that compete with each other for perch. By this, we are done with this part. Next part. In some areas, otters have been introduced into lakes and rivers. Fishermen claim that this has affected the food web and spoiled their fishing. Explain how and why introducing otters could affect the number of fish in the lake. What do the otters do? Why do the otters affect the number of fish? The otters do what? The otters eat the perch, which is a fish. So how and why introducing the otters could affect the number of fish in the lake? This will reduce the numbers of fish by otters eating the perch. Question 14. Jamila draws a picture of the sun and the planets in the solar system. So we have here the sun. She has labeled the sun. Write down the names of the 2 planets nearest to the sun. Okay, let's review together the names of the planets. We have here Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. This is Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So, the 2 planets nearest to the sun are Mercury and Venus. We see the sun because it's a source of light. Explain why we see the planets. We can see the planets because of the light reflected off from the sun. So the planets reflect light from the sun. The sun is the only light source here. The last question, question 15. Sophia investigates electrical circuits. She measures the voltage across a lamp. Sophia writes her results in a table. So this is a test wire. Here we have the length of the wire and the voltage. Length of the wire here 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. And here we have different values of the voltage. Question A. Complete the graph of Sophia's results by what? Adding labels to both of the axes. So we have here the x-axis and the y-axis. The x-axis represents what here? The x-axis represents length of test wire in centimeter. Don't forget to write the unit. The y-axis here is the voltage in V. We are just copying from the table the voltage and the length of test wire in centimeter. This is part 1. Part 2, plotting the points. The first 3 have been done for you. Let's plot the points together. The first 3, which were the 10, 20, and 30. So here, 40 is what? 40 is 0.28. 0.28 here. This is the point. The last one, 50 and 0.22. A 50 and 0.22 here, 0.21, 0.22. So this is the 0.22, and this is the 50. This is the second point. So here we are done with part 2. One of the results do not fit the pattern. Which result is anomalous, and what should Sophia do to check this result? There is an odd result here. If we check the table, we will find that we have 0.42, then 0.37, 0.35, 0.25, 0.22. So which result is odd here? This is the odd result, which is length of the wire 30 and the voltage is 0.35. So this is the odd point. What can she do to improve or to check on the results? She should repeat this reading to be able to check where is the mistake. The anomalous result is the 0.35. She should do what? She should repeat the reading. By this, we are done with the exam. Hope it was beneficial. Thank you so much.